Let me turn on the high beam so we can see what we're doing here. Alright, so this is a Samson Junior bench vise. Number 23, small anvil, square bolts top and bottom, square heads, sorry, square, not square, just square. We have a 3.5 inch jaw width. That's still moving. No, that's not still moving. So that's locked up. Looks like we're missing a little piece of casting under here. Doesn't look bad from 20 or 30 feet, but once you get up close, I don't know. Let's see what we can do. She needs a little cleaning up. I got this from an estate. I was invited in. It was my neighbor's father's house. I was invited in, more or less, I guess, to cherry pick. Is there anything in here you need? There was a few things, but I just couldn't cherry pick and leave her with all the garbage. So I offered her a plan. She was going to have somebody come in and clean the place out. I told her that I would take the place to broom clean in exchange for whatever I want. I would just basically empty the place for her and go from there. And she accepted the offer, so that's what I did. I went in and I cleaned out everything. It looked like they had some service people in there before I got in there that took advantage of the situation, because there was some things that were missing that she remembered being there. So I just, if you just ask, a lot of times people give you the world. It's when you start stealing from them that people get upset. So I'm going to leave that sit, go gather a couple of things, and see where we go. Expecting that. Look at the see that gap? I don't think that's supposed to be there, so figure out what that is caused by. Yeah, kind of figured that was too good to be true. So that's going to have to get cut off. Appears to be something not there. Had to have been something on one side or the other. Again, that looks like we're missing a chunk of the casting maybe. I don't know. Okay. So, go get us something a little bigger for that. That is clearly not flat. That wasn't quite what I was expecting, but that'll work. Should there be a hole in here? This maybe is a budget-friendly vise. Alright, so this is going to need some washed up. That's nice and flat. That's not. I do not think I even want to try to take those out with normal tools. And that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. So before we do any real damage to that, let's get the impact set. Okay. 4 out of 4. 3 out of 4. Got them all out, but one of them not holding. So it looks like we're ready for a scrub. And after we get her scrubbed up, we're ready to evaluate what we're going to do from there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so we got them all cleaned up, and I got them relatively wiped down, and now they need to go into the sandblaster. So yes, normally I would tape up these better pieces, but I think I'm going to be better off to sandblast it and then go back with a file and refinish those pieces, because this is in that bad a shape. And I'm going to do this one first so that I don't mess up the Acme threads. I plugged off the threads on the other side so that I don't mess those up internally, and there's nothing in there. So we can take a peek in at the sandblaster, but here's the inner depths of the sandblaster. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see. I don't know how people that do video in sandblasters do it, but I'm going to protect that thread. Alright, so the end there was boogered up. It had a lot of pitting. You see the pitting on there. So that did good to sandblast it, but so didn't mess up the threads. I'll get that all cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and sandblast the rest of these, and I'll catch you guys when I'm done, because honestly this is really boring. Alright, we're back from sandblasting. I think overall we did okay. So I think it's pretty rough, and we are going to have to do quite a bit of finish work to get this looking the way it ought to. Alright YouTube, let's see if we can pick up where we left off. I've done a little bit to this. I brought out the die grinder and hit this back area. The casting on this side was way worse than the casting on this side. So this back piece is really secondary. Getting this, even that smooth, was quite the feat. So I'm trying to get this level and square, which is proving to be somewhat of a task, and this nice and rounded off. So I'm looking down the road at how this is going to be finished, and I think this, and this are going to be bare metal, and they look kind of nice and shiny, and you know how we feel about nice and shiny. So we'll have to look at that. Just saying. So the casting right here, that big chunk of whatever, that's got to go. And this, it looks like there's a piece that was broke off right there, but then I don't see that that's offering a whole lot of support for the lead screw, but I think I'm going to leave that one. Just bad casting all over. That broke off, but I don't, this is a light duty vise. That was somebody using it for not a light duty vise. And then this we talked about before. That's not flat at all. And you can see the grinding they did in the center. I think they just gave up too soon. So we'll finish their job. Whenever you're grinding, make sure that you put non-flammable material in the direction you're going to throw sparks. I'll throw sparks this direction. Stuff happens. Alright, need some tea. La 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 la. Okay, I'm going to switch over to back to work. So I need all the contact points to touch in the end. That's what I'm looking for. I'm getting to where I can live with it. What I found, more casting marks. Alright, so when I was a Ute, my first job was working at a Napa. And at Napa they sold some stuff called red lead. It was a putty, and you used it to fill holes in metal and in little pinholes in other kinds of bodywork. So I was actually headed there to get that same thing, but I stopped at Walmart and was wasting time there, and I found this plastic metal. This is going to involve glasses. Plastic metal fills and repairs almost any metal surfaces, repairs cracks, porosity leaks in cast metal, resists water, oil, and gasoline. So I just want to fill the holes. I don't need this. I don't think I would trust it for structural kind of stuff, but for filling these little potholes in a bad casting, I think this is going to be just the ticket. I guess we'll be back in 2 or 3 hours. and we'll go from there. So, personal note, don't use your finger as a spreader, because I did use acetone on it and it didn't come off. I was just scraping off my fingerprints to get that taken care of. So this is a chunk of pretty wasted 80 grit. So here, cool, there. There we go. So that was the desired effect right there, was to make it so that you can't really feel the dimples, and that definitely reduced that. So it filled in the low. Wow, that is so much better. Fills in those valleys. Like I said, I don't really want to, I don't care if it's perfect, but this was so pitted and just nasty from the casting. That's going to smooth all that right out. Alright, been a few days since I've been out here. I have some challenges that I have to work with, so I don't get out here even vaguely as much as I want to. My wife did take me out shopping, that is. Memorial Day sale. I got the finger sanding pad and paper set. So what that actually looks like is that. It's for the oscillating tool, and I thought that was pretty slick. This is hook and loop, so that's cool. This, I like the oscillating tool. It's adjustable. This was like $9, so it certainly wasn't cheap, I wouldn't say. And then that was another $2 or $3. That's 9 pieces. So this is where we're at. This is the second coat of the Bondo plastic metal. So this is a second coat of it. We're really starting to get somewhere, I think. Alright, if you guys remember when we were checking this out, there's a giant chunk missing. So that chunk is going to have to get repaired. This is a piece of aluminum, and then I'm going to take the piece of aluminum and put it there. Alright, I'm going to take that and get that welded. Alright, we're working on the handle to the vise. It's gotten chowdered up there pretty good. I don't know what was up with that. But remember, this just had this slip ring, and I gotta change that. That's really not gonna do it for me. But I wanted to add something to this. The Parker vices, the nice expensive ones, they have a screw right there with a knurled nut, and what they do is you can set the handle in the middle or something and you can tighten it up. But to do that, I have to drill a hole. If I drill a hole, it'll go through here. I don't want it to go through there, so I am going to see about taking this off. And through my superpowers of observation, I noted that this is the end that goes on. So I'm going to hit it with the belt sander and see if I can persuade that to come off. Alright, popped right apart. Ding. So it was hammered on. So back in the day, your tool companies would give you nice signs like this. Of course, it would have their advertising on it. No idea if this place is still in business, but what this tells me over here on, let me widen up a little bit, is it's got decimals, drill size, millimeters, 32nds, 64ths, but then over here it has thread drill, and I want to drill 1024. So if I want to drill a 1024, that has to be a number 25 bit. What size is a number 25 bit, you ask? 2. Well, if we go over here, it tells us that a number 25 is a 0.1495. So, wait a second. I want to drill a 5/16 hole because I think the 1/4 inch is going to be too fine motor skill for me. So 5/16 18. Let me check that. 5/16 18. Check. 5/16 18 is an F drill. An F drill is 0.2570, so just a shade bigger than a 1/4 inch. An F drill. No, it doesn't mean that. Okay, so the F drill, back in the F hole. Miller's Falls Company, made in USA. Probably should have waited to pick what hole size until I actually had the knurled nut I was going to use. So no, that is not original for the vise. However, from my research, this vise was sold in magazines for $2.22 in 1929. So I don't know what that comes out to, but there is very precious little about this particular vise online. So I'm going to go with, that means it's either crazy rare or incredibly lousy. And judging by what we found so far, I'm going with B. Alright, a little more work on the subscriber here. We're all terribly pitted around here. I'd like this to be polished, but I don't know if it's gonna cooperate. Man down! Dagnabbit. Alright, let's flip on the high beams. See what we got. So we got these in primer. And they're going to need just a little bit of sanding. To just kind of roughen up that primer. If anything, the finish is too smooth on these. When I use that metal fiddle, the plastic metal, and the back side of here doesn't hardly even look like it's cast iron, or cast whatever this is cast out of. Alright, one last shot before the reveal. Let me turn on the high beam so we can see what we're doing here. Alright, so this is a Samson Junior bench vise. Number 23 small anvil. Square bolts, top and bottom. Square heads, sorry. Square, not square. Square, just square. Alright, YouTube. Here is the great reveal. As done as she's gonna get. Looks a little different than I did right there at the beginning. Samson Junior, highlighted all up. This is a Ford Tractor Red. The number 23. I put it on a piece of cedar that I milled myself with my sawmill here on the property. I know, strange. The jaws, I went with Hardwood Jaws, and again I milled these out of a tree here on the property. These are rock hard maple. They are sugar maple, which grows incredibly slow, and they are very hard. The reason I chose these is the theory was originally that this vise was going to sit right here on my workbench. I'm not going to keep it on this base. I'm going to bolt it down, and this is what I will use in my restorations. So I didn't want to have jaws on it that would hamper that. And our original jaws, I just saw no way, and I didn't have any aluminum. I don't have any brass or copper. So hardwood was the next best thing. I think that all came out all right. We polished up everything that we could. In here you'll notice that I put a locking collar that has a set screw, and I put a spring. In here there is a PVC bushing that makes this all tight so it doesn't go anywhere. And over here on the end I added this set screw. I have to do something, my fingers won't turn that, so I'm gonna have to add something so I can use it by hand. But that makes it so I can set the rod in the middle. A nice little feature, I think. Oh, she works smooth as silk. Jaws closed tight. Very happy with it. Good little vise in the end. The paint, maybe a little bit too smooth, if anything. We spent all that time fixing these castings using that plastic metal, and this is our result. So I'm very happy with it. We're calling this one done, and the next time you see it, it'll probably be in a video fixing something else. So, alright YouTube, when in doubt, put a motor on it. T-Rex out.